Hello, sweet people. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Vanessa. Nice to have you. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about something that has been a process. If you've watched the last few videos, I started talking a little bit about what to do when you feel emotional or you feel like you have a bit of an emotional wave coming through. And often we interpret this as, oh no, life is not going well, or, things are happening, and we immediately enter like a bit of a drama spiral, which, no judgment, I completely understand. It took me also a long time to not over identify with emotions that are coming up. Sometimes you may not even know what's going on, right? Like sometimes you may not be able to name your emotion, or sometimes you just have a bad day or a bad week. And I just want to share with you today my process from the other side, because as I shared in another video this week, or last week, better said, like 2 days ago or so, that I've been feeling, quite emotional and in my feelings. And, at this point in my life, I have my tools. I know how to be with that, and I can allow myself to have my emotions, still connect to myself, and at the same time, let arise whatever needs to arise slowly, without pressuring myself to know now what's going on, or to have a solution. Sometimes there's no need for a solution, and sometimes there's not even a problem. Sometimes, emotions just come through to be cleared or to be processed. And that's why it's a good idea not to, overinterpret or give the strongest meaning to, your mood and what you're feeling. Because what it intensifies is your thought process, the meaning that you give to you not feeling so good. And there's nothing wrong with not feeling so good, generally, yeah? Obviously, if it stays over a longer amount of time, we want to find out what's happening if you haven't found out, yeah? And you can ask for help and all these things, but that's not the topic of this video. There are other videos you can find on my channel where we talk about all these kind of things. Okay, so let's get to the point. I had yesterday and today a lot of realizations come up, and you know why? Because I allowed myself last week to just be in my emotions and to check in. I have a daily check-in where I meditate and connect to myself and just feel underneath, okay, when I go deeper, how do I feel? What's going on? And I always felt like, okay, I feel myself, it's okay. And even if you have a day or two or a week where you don't feel connected to yourself, maybe to your body, where you don't feel what's going on, it's okay. It's really important not to pressure yourself, but to give yourself some time, because often when we pressure ourselves, we get the opposite response from our system. Yeah, so you could imagine your emotional state often like from a younger version of you. Not always, but often our emotions don't like to be pushed, right? They are sensitive. They are, there's also emotions like anger or joy or frustration, where we are like, rah, give me something, right? Like, let's move. But then there are emotions like sadness or melancholy or stuff like that, where we sometimes don't know yet what's happening, what's arising. And then, being pushed, especially then, doesn't feel good. I mean, check in with yourself. How do you feel? Does it actually help you to pressure yourself in finding out what's going on, or does it not? And so for me, last week, I was just really allowing my emotions to come up if they wanted to. And here is the lesson of self-soothing, because many of us growing up, we haven't learned to soothe or be soothed in healthy ways, especially if you come from a family where there was not much emotional availability or emotional intimacy or like emotional support in general, then you may have not been soothed by your caretakers. So what do I mean with the word soothing? Soothing is when somebody is there, like they put their arm around your shoulder, they ask you what you need, they ask you, hey, how are you feeling? You know, they check in with you on several levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, if you are okay, if you need anything. Now, many of us, like me, you may have grown up in the way that there was not much emotional intelligence in your caretakers or parents, and you may have learned to be strong and stop crying and why are you so sensitive and all these things. And this is no blame or judgment on parents. I'm truly convinced that people do the best that they can, even if it's not what we need, you know? So as adults, we have the responsibility to now caretake ourselves or ask for help and tell people what we need as well. It's a balance of all three of them. And we're the only ones who can improve our lives and share what we need and go for what we need and ask for what we need. We're not children anymore. And if there's resentment or anger, then this is something to be processed. But, you know, we have self-responsibility as adults. So let's take it. And again, that's no judgment on you or on any caretaker or parent. It's just how it is. And we all need to learn that. So what we all need to learn when emotions come up is healthy self-soothing. So healthy checking in with yourself. What do I need? Yeah, when last week when I had emotions come up, what I felt was like, okay, I feel like I just want them to, you know, arise. So I sat with myself in meditation and I just told myself, you know what, whatever you need, what do you need, basically, sorry. And I asked myself that, what do I need? And I felt from within, from my body, this is not questions that you answer with your mind, this is questions you answer with your body. And I just always check in with myself, what do I need? And what I needed was just taking it slow and allowing emotions to come if they wanted to. So for me, that means spending some time at home, drinking some warm tea, reading a good book, not being over-identified with social media, letting my friends know that I need some time to myself, but then also taking some time to go out, take a walk, meet some friends for a coffee or whatever. But this is something, everybody's different in that. I know that I don't want to overwhelm my calendar, but I need to, meet a couple of friends also for my sanity, because it's also healthy to share that you're not okay. And that we talked about this in another video last week, where we often fear that we cannot share with others how we feel, or we should stay at home or whatever when we're not feeling good. I don't agree. I really think like if your friends are your friends, it's fine to tell them, hey, I'm not in the best mood, but do you want to still take a walk or have a coffee? And maybe that's going to cheer you up or make you feel comforted or safe, I mean, that's also a part of friendship. We cannot expect only to be together always when everything is sunshine and rainbows, right? Maybe that's what you've learned growing up, that maybe I've learned that, for example. So I've learned to put on the mask that everything is okay and not let everybody know my secrets and how I really feel on the inside and whatever. But I've never understood that concept, because that always felt fake to me. So I realized that quite quickly with like 18 or 19 that this doesn't serve me and that my friends will accept me also when I cry, or when I have a bad day, or when I have a bad mood, like we are all humans. That's what it all comes back down to. So what is self-soothing good for? It's about understanding your own needs, even if you have not learned to understand your own needs growing up. Even if people were not there or able, literally didn't have the emotional intelligence to give you what you needed. And as children, we often have a hard time voicing what we need. Yeah. So now as an adult, you can check in with yourself and just ask yourself, not from the mind, but from the body, see what comes up for you. What do I need? And you can ask yourself this question whenever you're in doubt, whenever you need clarity, whenever you feel whatever way. And you will find an answer. And again, in the beginning, maybe you're not sure, but you can practice that. It's a very simple life skill, yeah, that you can practice like anything else. So with me, for example, as I gave myself what I needed, instead of analyzing, ruminating, finding an answer, what is going on with me? Do you feel the difference in energy when I speak like that? Excuse me. What is going on with me? Oh my God, something is wrong with me. Oh my God, I need to find a solution. I need to feel better. This is stressing yourself for no reason. As human beings, it's completely normal to have emotions. And then you can imagine yourself like, imagine a parent would treat a little child like that. A little child that's just not feeling so good, You wouldn't be like, oh my God, why you're not feeling good? Come on, get a coffee, do this, get out, work out, do the things. You wouldn't say that to a child, to a sensitive little being. But you would do that to yourself. If you're somebody who has that internal narrative of pressure and analyzing and controlling, again, no judgment towards you at all. I'm just saying that because I had these narratives as well. Sometimes still have them, especially when it's about, work and stuff. But it's about building awareness and realizing that this is counterproductive, that this is most likely not helping you, but making you feel like, making your emotions feel, making your inner child possibly feel like, oh no, now I need to hide. And then your emotions will actually slip more away rather than open up to you. Yeah, and here we are again with the conversation of the inner child. So if you don't know what that concept means, watch some videos back. But the inner child basically always lives within us. And when we don't feel so good, it most likely is a good idea to give your inner child some soothing, to give your sensitive parts, like emotionally sensitive parts, some room and, some support rather than the pressure and the expectation. Because what we do, if we do that pressure and expectation and pulling and pushing thing within us, that is just the dialogue that you may have had with a caretaker or a parent or a teacher or whatever internalized. So often we internalize the voice of somebody who told us how to live or what to do and what's the right way to do things. Often we internalize that critical voice and use it against ourselves. That's, on the one hand, we internalize this voice to protect ourselves from getting hurt in the world. So maybe you've learned, oh my God, I cannot be sensitive, otherwise I will be judged or punished or ridiculed or embarrassed, whatever. Yeah, so everybody has different narratives. You got to find out what's yours. And basically, the end of the story is, in order to feel better, you got to give yourself some grace, some time, and ask yourself, what do I need right now? And be patient, yeah, with yourself, and learn self-soothing. No matter what you're going through, I read some comments the last few days, no matter if you're going through recovery, if you're going through a breakup, if you're going through a job loss, or starting over in a new city or whatever, no matter what you're going through, try to give yourself some grace. Try to treat yourself like you would treat a friend or your child or your younger sibling. Yeah, because you would probably be more sensitive and caring for them. So now you can practice to do that sensitivity and caring on yourself, because it's really important to learn. What is it called? Write it in the comments below. Self-soothing. Yeah. So I'm curious how you feel about self-soothing and what your self-soothing techniques are, if you have any, because usually we mistake self-soothing with drinking, online shopping, drugs, eating, sex, any obsessive-ish behavior. And again, no judgment. We all have some degree of that, and there's no shame in it. But nobody likes to be at the mercy of a drug or a substance or whatever. If you hear a sound in the background, this is the snoring cat. The snoring cat. Anyway, so nobody likes to be at the mercy of, something to hold on to. You're so cutie. You're so cutie. Okay, sorry, little cat intervention. Also, if you need a self-soothing partner, you can get a little cat, but also only if you are able to take care of them for long term. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the topic and finish up here, because I feel like we're getting to the end of the video, and I just want this to be clear that self-soothing is an important part of life, not just if you are a child, but also as an adult. And people underestimate the importance of that. If you're somebody who's suffered a burnout or anything like that, you need self-soothing more than you think. And maybe you think, oh no, but cognitively, I've already processed all these childhood things, or I know that I need to rest or whatever. Get out of the cognitive plane. Sure, it's important to think strategically and intelligently and, whatever. But this happens on a whole different level, the self-soothing necessity. It happens in your body, it happens on your emotional level. And if you haven't received whatever you needed as a child, and everybody's different, everybody has different levels of sensitivity and different levels of physical, emotional, and mental needs and desires. So you got to find out for yourself what means self-soothing to me in a healthy way, without maybe substance abuse or gambling or, insert whatever is true for you. For me, it's often, as a child, for me, what soothed me was often food and media. So with media, I mean watching TV, because I had a TV in my bedroom, and that made me feel safe. When my parents went out late at night and I felt like unsafe at home, I would watch TV all night long till they came home. And sometimes I would just put on in the middle of the night football. So that felt like the only not scary channel at night, and I would just have it on and fall asleep. So my automated coping would be, watching TV shows or whatever, and having snacks, because that is what made me feel safe as a child. But as an adult, these mechanisms become burdens rather than a support system. And often, they hurt us. They start hurting us because it feels unhealthy, or, it takes us away from our inner freedom, because we become dependent on something else to make us feel numb or okay in some way. So it's really good to find out how you can healthily self-soothe and replace, it may take some time, but replace what doesn't feel good with something that feels good, feels good sustainably, not just in the immediacy of the moment where you need a relief. Yeah. And what do you need a relief from as well? Yeah. So these are really good questions to ask yourself when you have a moment where you don't feel good. And just to close off this video, as I gave myself the grace and the time to allow my emotions to arise and give myself what I needed in that week. Yesterday and today, I felt so much better and I had so many realizations come up. I woke up really early naturally today and I was just having so many realizations and journaled and I meditated and I had a good cry of, stuff that needed to come out and be processed. Nothing that is majorly sad or weird or there's no shock that I've encountered, but it may be that you encounter that, and that's okay too. For me, it was just realizations of things that needed closing, and that was really beautiful. And I woke up, I journaled in the morning, and I just feel today so much more myself and so much more relieved. That's why I want to share with you that giving yourself the grace and the time that your body, your system needs to process. Sometimes we don't even know what. And then when the realizations trickle in, when we allow ourselves to have a cry or scream in the forest or whatever feels good that doesn't hurt yourself or others, then the emotions will slowly integrate and the realizations will arise. And this is, without force. I didn't force myself. I didn't judge myself. I didn't pressure myself into being there yet, so to say. So I just wanted to share that with you because I feel like this is really important. I did watch some TV shows, but I'm also a human, and our strongest coping mechanisms take some time to relieve. And I'm not saying like it's okay to do some online shopping if you have the budget. It's okay to watch a TV show, just do it consciously, because when okay, I'm allowing myself to do that right now. And again, allowing sounds so stupid, but do it consciously and don't just zone out completely from your life over weeks or months, because that can happen to some people. And then we get into that spiral where we feel like we lose ourselves, and then it's much harder to get out of it. So I don't want to scare you at all. It's nothing scary, don't worry. But it's just good to be aware. That's what I want to say. Be aware of your actions and see if if you can be aware of what would be a nice alternative to my automated coping mechanism that may be still here from childhood but doesn't really serve me anymore. What could I do that actually feels good alternatively? Don't replace it with something that you wouldn't like to do, because that will just raise the threshold of you actually doing it. So that makes no sense. Don't say instead of smoking, I'm going to go to the gym. I mean, if you love the gym, go for it. But if you are not even going to the gym at all, then this would be too hard to keep up. But if you like walking your dog or whatever, and you say okay, every time I crave a burger or a cigarette or online shopping or gambling or a drink, I take my dog and we go on a walk and I see the nice nature and I take a deep breath. Yeah, everybody needs to find their own thing. I cannot tell you what it's yours, because you're a different person than I am. But it's definitely worth it to prepare. Honestly, the best we can do is rehearse the things that we want to change if we want to get out of a pattern. So I'm not saying you should, rehearse and your whole life, but sometimes it helps to, especially if we go through things like wanting to interrupt a pattern and want to learn how to self-soothe, we need to a little bit think about, okay, what would feel good to me alternatively? Same if you, are having panic attacks and anxiety. what would feel good in that moment to help you reconnect to reality and ground yourself. Yeah. So preparation in those situations, in order to understand what would help me then, really helps to implement easier. Okay. So share with me below maybe what old coping mechanism you usually have for self-soothing, if you have any, and what would feel best for you as an alternative. I would love to hear that. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and maybe share the video with anybody who needs to hear this today. Okay, I see you tomorrow. Ciao.